Hello again. Let's talk about advanced options in Tf2. Not like Tf2's option and then go to advanced options, but rather go to the button that says advanced options. The one that has a plus on it. You can fiddle with the normal options for like keybinds and changing your video settings, but advanced options are mostly for quality of life or something to change about Tf2's gameplay. I want to talk about the more important advanced options you should look at, and then you're free to look at the other ones later. The first set is to enable voice chat, enable text chat, and then having the ability to go to Steam's chat filtering settings and alter it there if you don't like bad words and stuff. After that, there's two weapon settings. I hope you have it turned on. There's fast automatic reload, which is try to keep everything nice and ready for next battle, and have fast weapon switch. So you don't have to do switch weapon then click. It's just switch weapon because that's much faster. I hope you have this advanced setting on to turn on hit sounds, because that is very important to know when you're actually hitting an enemy. And if you have a external thing like afterburn or a sentry gun doing damage, you want to know that you're actually killing someone. In that same logic, I want you to have the last hit sound, or I call it just kill sound, enabled, so you know when you're actually doing the finishing blow on a person. Like, obviously you can see on the kill feed or in the enough damage you see them die, but I want you to know whenever you do like a stray shot or a stray rocket to know that you actually killed someone. Enabling damage text to actually see how much damage you're doing to an enemy is obviously useful, but I also want you to turn on the accumulate combat text damage into a single number, so you don't have to do the math yourself. I want you to just keep on doing chunks of damage and see how much you're doing in total. It'll be annoying to ask a pyro or a heavy to just keep on mental mathing on how much damage they're doing every time they gun down a person or flamethrower a person down with afterburn. It's like, oh yes, I have to count every 5 ticks of afterburn. No, that's just accumulate it all together at once. I don't use these settings, but like it's more for personal preference if you want to. It's like, oh, just remember what you have out when you respawn, or remember your last weapon switch to for your last weapon switch button. I don't even think I have that anymore. Here's a nice sniper specific weapon setting, but it's not in the class specific options yet. Is that it helps you know when you're full charge without having to glance over to the little charge meter and just focus on who you're aiming at. After that, we can actually talk about the class specific sniper options, which is sniper v-zoom after firing zoom, which is like, I don't know about that. That seems very finicky. But there's also sniper hide crosshair when zoomed in. That's sort of useful if you don't like having your crosshair obstruct what you're aiming at, but you can fiddle with that and choose what you want for sniper. Here's a useful thing for spy players is to have the spy concise menu, so you don't have to press 1 through 9 to disguise all the 9 classes. And this the whole reason I wanted to make this video mostly is to have talk about the medic advanced options and the class specific options. First one, to not have to hold down left click, obviously useful. Another one is to have a marker above your healing target. Like, yeah, that's nice, so you don't have to figure out who you're healing by just a name. And then the most important one is to have injured teammates automatically call out with that like a small noise and small medic thing to know that teammates are low or at a certain percentage. I like to keep mine at 50% so I can just constantly run around and heal people that are that low. There's so many times I've seen where people are just standing right behind a medic and the medic does not heal them at all. They didn't notice that they're low health. Most people expect you just call automatically medic when they're low, but I want to just go around and heal them no matter what, if they are calling medic or not. A decently useful one for people that want less clutter on the screens from the HUD and want more visible screen space for TF2 is minimal HUD. It just makes everything just go shrink down and go to the corners. Another useful option to turn on is to have colorblind mode on. It doesn't like affect all the colors of TF2, it's just that it makes it so that the people who hit with Jarati or Mad Milk have a little jar above their head so you know which one it is, and it's just easier time to see them when they're debuffed. Another thing that I like to keep on is just to have the ability to see spectator player items. I know like some people don't like that. It just like less clutter when you spectate, or like some people have offensive names. But I find some funny names, so I'm keeping it on. Here's two useful settings you can turn on or off. Is enable certain objectives to be glowing, so you can actually see them through walls, and then also have the ability to turn off specifically player glowing for FPS saving, or because you feel bad against enemy spies, because the glowing is very easy to tell enemy spies when you respawn. Next up on the list is view model FOV, which is just, you know, how far away your gun is from you. And I would suggest you increase it from the base 54 value, please. It's very, very close to your screen otherwise. These two are in the miscellaneous option at the bottom, but they're still related to view models. One is flip view models, so instead of having it on the right side, you have it on your left side. It's preference there. But you can't change it during a match. You have to be out of a match to change the view models, because it's not allowed in TF2. And then minimize just makes it so that your gun is further shrinked down, like how minimized HUD is. A very useful thing is to combine everything in one glance, so you can turn off the floating health bar above a person's head into the same ID plate that you use for inspecting their name. So that way, you don't have to like look up and down to see if they're healthy or not. Even if you completed both the Jungle Inferno and the Pyroland contracts, it's better to just have this as an option to keep on to you know, see whenever a new contract comes around, mostly for Halloween. Here's some useful scoreboard stuff. Enabling mouse on scoreboard to easily check for, I don't know, like maybe Steam profile or trade with someone maybe. Displaying ping values as text, because you know that's actually super duper useful to know how laggy you are. Alternate class icons, like if you like the different designs, I guess. Team status display means you on top, right next to the timer, is your team versus their team, showing who's respawning, who's dead, and like how much health they have. It's useful in that situation where you want to know everything at a top glance. In actuality, TF scoreboard mouse mode has a third option instead of 0 and 1 only. There's 0, 1, and 2. 0 is turning it off. 1 is turning it on, so that means you, whenever you press tab, your mouse isn't for aiming, it's for moving your mouse cursor. But if you do 2, it only activates the mouse part if you click again. So you press tab, you can still aim with it, but if you press right click while having your tab out, you actually turn into the cursor to click on other characters and stuff. These are just useful to turn off whenever you need to save some frames, you know. Disable weather effects, makes sense. Useful to disable decal limit, or not disable, like lower it from 200 base to a lower amount so you don't have a lot of bullet holes all over the place and chug in your game. These are some useful ones that you should probably just make sure you have it checked on. Like, you know, dying after you switch a class outside of the respawn area. Or, you know, respawn with the current loadout you want while in a respawn area. Both of them are useful, and I hope you have them on. You can disable these or enable these if you don't want to see what other people do for their custom images. Obviously, some people don't like it when people put, like, heinous things on their signs or something. But, you know, it's your risk. Whenever a person logs into a match, we actually get their spray temporarily saved on our Tf2's sprays folder. But obviously when you shut it down, it clears it as one of the options. If you want to look at other people's sprays, I guess you can turn it off. But there's all the other settings you can do for managing your files. Might as well check these settings again if you accidentally turn these off for some reason. Because both of these are nice and important if you want to trade a little bit. If not, become a hardcore trader in TF2. That's all of the advanced options that I want to talk about. But there's also two commands that I want to talk about that are both quite useful. One is for letting you see the whole wave as it progresses. So you don't have to like guess on how many robot scouts are left over, robot elites are left over. It will show you on the top how many are still there without having to know by memory. And the other one is zoom sensitivity ratio. If you don't like how snipers scope in, ratio is to your mouse. So you can fiddle with that if you want to perfect your aiming. That's all I wanted to talk about today. It's mostly like how you should really recheck all your advanced options to see if you have the options you like on or not. And then, you know, some of them are super useful, like the medic auto-callout thing, because I've seen too many medics pass by a very low HP person because they don't have it on. They just don't check. And it's just very sad to see. And with that, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.